Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to test out the current rank 1 in the world team from Elias, who got up to 3127 rating, rank 1 in the world, and we're going to have here a team with the Shadow, alolan, Sandslash, with the fast move Powder Snow, which is kind of rare to be seen, but as said in previous videos already, I kind of want to try this one out anyway, and this team was really cool. We're going to have the Gligar in the back as well as the Pelipper. We're going to talk a little bit more about this team in general during this video and how to play around it, but in general, this team got me a 8-2 run, which is insane, and I also now climbed up to Expert, which is also really cool. So I can highly recommend you this team here. Definitely something that you should try out if you have those Pokemon. And yes, I got rid of Shadow Claw on my alolan Sandslash. The thing is, with that one, it's an elite fast move that you kind of need to, like an elite fast TM that you need for it. But I have like so many of those anyway. Like there are rarely any Pokemon that really have a fast move that is legacy. There's like now Volt Switch on the Charger Bug, for example, which you can use it on, of course. There is, I think, Zapdos, which has Thunder Shock, but there are not a lot of Pokemon that are currently viable where you need it. So it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, if you really get rid of it, at least if you have those TMs, because you don't really need those TMs anyway. I think I have 11 of them, so whenever I need Shadow Claw, I can just get it back anyway, as we're going to win the first game here. But yeah, this is going to be today my expert run for the season, which is going to be very cool to see, and we're going to take a little bit more of a look into this team as well here during this video. The thing is, for example, here with the lead of Sableye, what you kind of want to do, in my opinion, is you kind of want to try to swap out eventually into your Gligar. Gligar is your mainstay swap, but not always. It depends on which Pokemon you're going to encounter, but this is going to be one of the worst possible Pokemon to encounter for this team. Dugong is completely difficult for you to deal with here, as we are going to have basically a Pokemon in the lead that is the fast move double resisted, plus Drill Run is the only thing that's neutral, and in the back you're going to have two flying type Pokemon against an ice type Pokemon, so this is going to be the worst possible Pokemon to encounter, and this Pokemon we don't really have anything to do against. We're going to be able to still hit a Hurricane at least, but I'm going to be forced to still go for an Ice Punch here because I would have got to another charge move if they wanted to. So yeah, this is not really looking too great, especially as the opponent now going to have still their Sableye, which will be able to go for a foul play, and unless they're going to be insanely weak to Gligar in the back, that's going to be a game. But as you can see here, they're going to have the Shadow Steelix in the back, which is actually a fairly bad matchup for Gligar, which seems to be a little bit interesting here, as we're going to see that the Breaking Swipe is going to chunk quite a bit of our Gligar. We're going to have a Purified Gligar here still with Dig. The thing is, I didn't really have a better normal one, and I built this one in order to help my brother out for his regional win in Barcelona, but I didn't actually ever use it against him. So yeah, that's kind of a Pokemon that I might want to upgrade eventually. But here you see basically the first really amazing matchup that you're going to have with Powder Snow on the alolan Sandslash. You're going to be able to now beat the Lickitung in basically every shield scenario if you play it correctly. But honestly, I would recommend you to go after the Drill Run for an Ice Punch instead, because it's going to allow you to get to the next move a little bit faster, which can be pretty impactful. Here, for example, the opponent didn't went for the Power Whip immediately. Like if you're basically in a Lickitung, as a Lickitung in this matchup, you kind of want to go for Power Whip, because then you can flip it in the 1-0 shield scenario, like if you use one extra shield than the opponent. But here my opponent is now one shield down, but has of course a Frossus in the back, which is not really ideal. But there's currently a team running around which is exactly those two Pokemon with a Gligar in the back, so I'm fairly certain that we're going to be fine here in this matchup, as I will be able to still go for Weather Ball. They're going to decide to shield this move up, kind of telling that they're going to have a Gligar in the back, and I will be able to use my shield here as well. As they're going to go for the Avalanche, I can just go for my Weather Ball. I win CMP against the opponent, which is fairly important here as well, of course. But as you can see, we can now get the Gligar out of the way. I can go for a Weather Ball, try to CMP here just for fun. But it doesn't matter anyway, as we're going to be able to even reach the next one in time, as they thought that we need still one extra fast move, but for them the game was over anyway at this point, as they were way too low for my own Gligar. So we're going to be able to win this next game. Let's take a look at the next one. We're going to see a Sandslash versus Sandslash lead, and that's going to be the one thing where you kind of want to swap out eventually into your Pelipper instead of your Gligar. But also only really depending if you're going to lose a CMP tie here. For example, I was always losing CMP tie with my Sandslash, because you see the IVs on the right side. It is a very, very low attack variant, which is actually not ideal. I might actually, if I would like go to a tournament here, you see me catching the charge move, which is really important. The opponent goes for a Swampert swap for whatever reason. But if I ever would go into like a tournament or something again for PvP, I most likely would bring my alolan Sandslash that doesn't have the best IVs just to win CMP, because I feel like it's very important for your alolan Sandslash to win CMP in the mirror, because a lot of people are using this Pokemon right now, so you're going to encounter the mirror quite often. And here my alolan Sandslash, while it looks really great on paper, it's actually always going to lose CMP, which always going to lose you the lead against other Sandslashes. But here we were able to get basically switch advantage back. I now going to be able to go into my own Sandslash and have also all the energy, because we were able to catch the move before, and the Ice Punch is going to knock them out, and now the Gligar has nowhere to go. We still have our own Gligar in the back, we still have our Sandslash with energy, and the opponent just decides to quit the game, most likely just close the game here, as it took so long for the charge move to go through. And so we can now move on into the next game, where we're going to encounter a Sableye against us. Sableye is going to be, again, not really ideal. I'm going to swap out a little bit earlier here, actually, which maybe was not the right call, but at least I have a ton of energy stored on my Sandslash, and my Gligar is kinda irrelevant in my opinion, like, at least for me right now. I don't really care too much where my Gligar is going to go here, but we will see that I can still go for an aerial ace against the opponent, which is going to do hopefully some damage. No, they're going to use a shield here, and we're going to have a CMP tie, which is really bad for me, because I already went for my aerial ace. But at least I can now realign my Pokemon guaranteed, because I'm going to outspeed the opponent afterwards, or I can just farm them all the way down here, which is even better for me, as now we're going to encounter the Lantern in the back. And this is going to be an awkward one, because Lantern is going to be a little bit of a difficult one here, because you don't have the Shadow Claw anymore, and they were able to farm me all the way down, because I couldn't swap out, because the opponent going to have, of course, a Medicham in the back. If you're going to see a Lantern, the likelihood of seeing a Medicham in the back is fairly high. So, at this point, if the opponent didn't catch the move there, I would have been in a way better spot than I am here right now. I thought they might want to stay in and go for like a charge move, but I expected them to let this move go through, keep the shield for the Lantern. But it turns out that they didn't want to do this, and this is actually a little bit awkward, because now you're overfarmed by a little bit too much, and I'm still forced to go for a charge move here. And honestly, maybe I would have been able to win this game if I didn't go for a charge move and try to farm down with the alolan Sandslash, because as you're going to see right now, I'm just going to be barely off from the Ice Punch. I need one more extra fast move. I would have, of course, won the CMP here, but I'm going to lose this game just so closely there from the opponent's serve. But let's take a look at the next game coming up. We're going to have now the alolan Sandslash against the Carbink in the lead. This is going to be an interesting matchup, but I actually don't really like it. But the entire team has at least some play against Carbink. We're going to have a very neutral matchup here. Like, here the fast move doesn't really matter too much. We can go for a drill run, get the shield from the opponent. We're going to catch the move onto the Gligar. Of course, Gligar being non-shadow is going to take those rock slides a little bit easier than my lead. As well as we're going to still have access to the move Dig, which is going to do super effective damage against the opponent. So this is looking fairly decent for me, but actually I was actually expecting that Dig would do like way more damage than this. Like, honestly, like, the damage output really surprised me in a negative way, but they're also going to still be able to go for a Moonblast, where I expected that we would see like the rock sides there instead. So this is a little bit of an awkward one, as the opponent going to be able to catch even a move here onto their Wishcares, which is also not ideal. So now it's only coming down to Pelipper being a very good boy here. As you can see, we can use a shield against the opponent's charge move, which is going to be the Blizzard, and I'm going to take a risk, and I'm going to go for the Weather Ball here. I'm not sure how much damage it's going to actually do, and as you can see, we're going to just barely put them into farm down range, and I'm fairly certain this is going to be just a Mud Bomb, and it is just a Mud Bomb, so it doesn't really do too much damage. And now we have some coverage for whatever comes in the back, and we have so much energy, and they're going to have the Venusaur in the back, as it seems like. As we're going to get the Hurricane off, I can snipe them with the Ice Punch, which I still had stored, and this is going to do so much damage that they cannot get to a single charge move, no matter against which Pokemon they're going to go up against. And alolan Sandslash here is going to be able to clean up this game, winning us this one fairly easily, as we can now move on into the next game coming up, going to be the Umbreon against us. Umbreon is going to be, of course, a little bit of a difficult one, I guess, but not really that much anymore, because we have Powder Snow instead of Shadow Claw, which is definitely the better one for us. So we're going to be able to take the move now on our Gligar. I can let this Foul Play go through, and as you're going to see, we're going to get the Toxapex out of here, and I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here, but I think the risk might pay off. We can go for a Dig, and we see it does basically around half of the opponent's health, and I'm going to decide to use a shield here still, because I'm fairly certain that I'm going to be able to outspeed the opponent opponent, not only to this dig that I have already now, but also to the next one. Because I'm generating energy slightly faster than the opponent, I will be able to actually see him P-tie against the opponent here, which makes this matchup insanely good for us. Because like this, I can let this move go through, and I turned a shield disadvantage into a shield advantage here, as well as I'm going to be able to get up to 100 energy with my alolan Sandslash. Going for a drill run, which should get the knockout against the opponent. We will see here right now the opponent's Umbreon coming in, and I can just go ahead and go for the drill run against them, which is going to do some decent damage, but I kind of want to still keep my Pokemon there alive, as I was not sure what they're going to have in the back, but it's going to be the Venus, so anyway, I can now shield up the Frenzy Plant, which is by far the move that's going to hurt me the most, as I can just go for a Hurricane, get the knockout here, and this game is over. There's nothing the opponent can do anymore. I can go for a Weather Ball, I can go for a Hurricane, I can go for a drill run. The opponent has no play anymore, as I'm just gonna go for the Weather Ball here to chip them down into a range where I can definitely knock them out with whatever I want to, and the opponent decides to just forfeit this game. So, let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to see a Deoxys in the lead. This is also one of the cases where you want to swap into your Pelipper. Main reason for this is that your Gligar is going to be better against Deoxys, and if they're going to swap out eventually, it's going to be better for you if you're going to still have your Gligar around, because here they could have Thunderbolt as well as Rock Slide, and usually they have Thunderbolt, but you'll see me here actually going still for the Hurricane, even though they were fairly low. Hurricane is a riskier play, but it worked out super well, as they decided to go for the Psycho Boost to then go for the Thunderbolt later on, which is a smart move, but here it worked out so well for us, as we can just go for a Weather Ball now, even against the opponent's Carbink, and even against the opponent's Carbink again here, which is going to put them into nearly the red health. And I'm going to decide to go into my alolan Sandslash here. I'm not sure if this was the right call, to be fair, but I'm going to let this move go through. Gligar would not take as much damage, but Gligar needs longer to get to the charge move, so I don't think it really matters too much, as I will be able to still go for an Ice Punch here. That's going to get the shield, which kind of let me know that they're mostly going to be weak against me in the back. So I decide to see what they're going to have in the back here, and it's going to be a Steelix. Good thing I used my shield, because now I'm going to be able to go for the drill run, go for an extra fast move, catch the move onto my Gligar, and get the free fast move in, which is super important, as you're going to see right now. I'm going to be able to still reach the dig here onto the CMP tie, but also Dig is taking one less fast move for the next one, which is really important, as we're going to see here right now. We're needing now, after the first, we need only 6 here, I think, to get to the next Dig, which is working out perfectly fine, to CMP tie again onto a Breaking Swipe, allowing us to get the knockout here. They still can farm me down with a Carbink. It's going to be close. Can they go for the Rock Slide in time? I thought I had more energy than this, but we can still farm them down in time and win this game against the Carbink. What a game that was. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We see another Lickitung, but this time the opponent plays it out a little bit differently. So this is something where I definitely have to learn a little bit more as well about the team, where I would play it now differently after knowing this. They're going to go for the Power Whip, which is the right call here, because they know how to play this matchup. But I decided to go straight for the Drill Run, which is fine, but I should have went for the Ice Punch here. I go and decide to go for another Drill Run, because this would get the knockout most likely, which they're going to decide to shield up. But if I went for the Ice Punch, I would have been able to get the shield. Plus, I would have still been able to get to this Ice Punch here, which would have been so nice for me. Would have get me either the shield or this, like even the switch advantage there as well, or a double shield advantage. But this was a mistake by me, definitely something to improve on. So always go for one Drill Run and then one Ice Punch against a Lickitung. That is definitely the better way to go for. It's the safer way to go for. But here we're going to now encounter the Frostless against us, where I can at least again align our own Pelipper, and it's fairly likely that they're going to have a Gligar in the back, because Gligar plus Lickitung is basically everywhere right now, and so I'm fairly certain that we're going to have a great matchup here. We're going to see the Lickitung coming back in. I'm going to be able to catch a charge move. I know that I'm going to have the Weather Ball stored for the Gligar in the back, and I can still go for an Aerial Ace here, but only after I already got for one extra one, so I can definitely outspeed whatever is going to be in the back, and it's going to be the Gligar. But sadly, it's going to be the normal Gligar. It's going to be not the Shadow variant, which makes this a little bit awkward, because now I'm fairly certain that the Weather Ball is not enough to knock them out, and also they're going to be able to get some extra energy here, making this matchup a little bit closer than I kind of want to. But honestly, I think also because of my AVs, this Weather Ball actually going to knock them out. It only should do around like 41% usually from that range, but I feel like the opponent didn't have the rank 1 variant of Gligar, something like this, as well as my Pelipper having a little bit more attack than the normal one. So that was kind of nice. Here we're going to see the opponent's Sandslash against our Sandslash again, which is going to be also again an awkward matchup here, especially as the opponent, I think, baited me here. did they? Yeah, they definitely baited me before with the Ice Punch, which is really awkward. So we're going to use another shield here, and you're going to see me going for the Ice Punch as well. The opponent knows that they win the MP. For them, it's clear that they have to shield this to win the lead matchup, and I'm fine with that, because again, I can catch the move onto my Pelipper. Again, one of the only Pokemon they really want to swap out into the Pelipper, because if you swap out and catch the move onto your Gligar, what do you get next? You're gonna get Ice Punch against you, and you're gonna just go down. So keeping your energy onto your own Sandslash in the bag is, I think, a little bit more valuable, as I'm going to even be able to get to another Weather Ball against the opponent's Jellicent here. Going to get them into a 1 HP range, which is kind of unfortunate. Of course, I would have liked to keep my Pelipper alive, but we will be able to just go into our Gligar, wait at the switch lock so we can swap out immediately if they go back into their own Sandslash. But I'm going to play this game a little bit differently than what you might expect, and I feel like this was kind of like a smarter way to do it. So let's take a look at how I play this final matchup for today. We're going to have the Mandibuss against us, of course. I expect that they're going to want to swap into their own Sandslash eventually, but what I'm going to do here right now is I'm going to swap into my Sandslash to do Ice Punch damage against the Mandibuss, which makes the matchup better for my Gligar. And now I'm always keeping a Dig alive for basically when they want to swap into the Sandslash, but I have to be fast. So I'm going to wait out a little bit, and we see here we're going to completely catch the opponent with that one, get the Dig off, knock them out, and this is game. And this is going to be also it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, check out the videos on the screen right now, and I see you then. You're going to see me here now claiming my next rank here, which is going to be, of course, the expert rank. See you then. Bye bye. Have a great time.